All right, get this thing out of my ear. Ooh. The door shut. Being recorded.
Okay, I think now I'm good.
There we go. We can hear you. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, how are you doing?
Great. So glad to connect with you here. I know we've been talking on the LinkedIn, or the Lindekin, as my mom calls it. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And I've already started recording, and I'm going to edit some of this, but I just want to let everybody know I'm so excited to get to meet the man, the myth, the legend. Now, I know with my little background, it's kind of making it tricky, but let me see if I can get that to pop up there.
Hey, I can help you out here.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, that's it. The author of The Connector's Way, Patrick Galvin, the man, the myth, the legend. So thankful to connect with you here. I was trying to reach out before our get together, and one of the guys who's a realtor, Nick Wilson, he said, I can't remember the last time I was so productive from a business development standpoint, following the book's clear and profound relationship building guidelines. I know that our business will continue to grow with the quality clients and friends. Nick Wilson, realtor, is it the Lau team? Did I say that?
Yep, that's right. And Lake, I believe that's in my home state of Oregon.
Yeah, there you go. Now, so where did you go to high school? There in Oregon?
I went to high school in California. We moved up to Oregon about 17 years ago and love it. So
that's awesome. So where'd you go to high school in California?
I went to Lowell High School in San Francisco, California.
Well, my sister went to San Francisco State, got her biology degree, and she loved it. So we'd love to go to visit her in Mountain View, which wasn't too far from there.
Yeah, that's pretty close by. And that's San Francisco State, I remember, well, actually my high school was very close to the campus there.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. And what year did you graduate there?
Oh my goodness, you're dating me now. It would have been 84, 83.
I graduated 89, so we're pretty close to each other there.
Yeah, it's, boy, time flies.
Well, I got to ask you, so how did you first learn about Rotary Club?
So in 1989, I got a Rotary scholarship that allowed me to go to Brazil. It was called an ambassadorial scholarship. So I studied in graduate school for a year, thanks to Rotary. I would never have been able to have done that without it. And that's when I first learned about Rotary. And it only took me 23 years to join. So I saw it. It was a bunch of old men. And then I started becoming an old man myself and thought, okay, maybe it's time for this organization.
That's cool. That's cool. So what Rotary Club are you plugged into today?
I am a member of Rotary Club number 15, the Rotary Club of Portland, Oregon. So we are the 15th oldest Rotary Club in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's amazing. So what is Rotary Club? Obviously, it's meant a lot to you because you got a scholarship and got to go to Brazil. What are some other things you could share with folks that might see this on YouTube?
Well, I wouldn't be talking to you were it not for Rotary. So I joined my Rotary Club because I wanted to be more connected to my city. So I travel a lot in my job, and Rotary was an opportunity to serve the community and to see what was going on and join with other people who were united in that cause. And I figured I'd meet some great people. So I'd get some new friendships going, which I did. That'd be great for me to give back to my city, which it has been. But what I did join Rotary for, which is actually the thing you want to do if you want to join Rotary for business, is it's been great for my business.
Yeah.
So I never would have been speaking in the mortgage and real estate world were it not for one day having given the presentation at my Rotary Club, and someone said, there's this mortgage company that's putting together their annual sales conference, and they should have you come in and speak. And that kind of got it all going for me. But that was not my intention when I joined Rotary. If you join Rotary for business, it doesn't always work out that way. But if you join for fellowship and service, business will come, because people want to do business with and refer business to those who they know, like, and trust. And there's no better place in the world than Rotary to develop those types of relationships.
Well, my personal story with Rotary, I think it's great we can share our story, how it's impacted us on a personal level. Was a friend of mine I'd known for many years before I asked her, I said, hey, what do you know about Rotary Club? Turned out she was a member of the Bixby, Oklahoma Rotary Club. Her name is Wendy Davis. And I knew her through a prepaid legal insurance. She's one of their top salespeople in the nation with her group employee enrollments. And so she was always winning the big awards for that. But just a fun lady, neat lady, kind of wild and crazy, and always had great energy. And I called her this morning. I told her I was so excited to talk to you. And I was just thanking her again for inviting me into her group, which I'm still a member of. And I just asked her, I said, I'm getting to interview Mr. Patrick Galvin. He's a big proponent and a big advocate of Rotary Club. But in his book, Connect Your Way, I said, I just wondered if you could maybe share a story. And she's got so many stories. It's amazing. Her husband was a professional basketball player. He flew helicopters in the military when he was over in Korea. And we talked about that story a little bit. But I said, what's the story maybe? And I told her about you and Rotary Club and the connection there. She said, well, one story that might be good to share is as we're talking about how people we've connected with through Rotary, it's impacted us in a level that transcends business, right? It's a deep relationship where we're doing life together, right? And a lot of great memories. But she said that when she was a mom with 4 little ones and she was trying to figure out how to start her own business, she read on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, there's a guy named Paul J. Meyer out of Texas, and he had an ad on the front of the page there. And so she drove all the way to Waco with her newborn, or very new little baby, took one of her kids to help watch her child while she was visiting with Paul. And she ended up buying one of his franchises for SMI. And Paul J. Meyer, I don't know if you ever heard his name, but so you probably heard of John Maxwell, written a lot of great books.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so Paul J. Meyer was a mentor to John Maxwell and got him into, what he is now today. And a lot of that goes back to the training and teachings from Paul J. Meyer. But what Paul J. Meyer told Wendy was, whenever you're in a room with people, find the person that has the light kind of just exuding out of them, that energy, that, that something that, the French call it je ne sais quoi, just have that something that, that you can just feel it when you're around them. You can see it from across the room, and go get around that person, find out what their goals are, because most likely they want to change the world, and you could go along on the ride with them. And then one of the people she met through Rotary Club was Sean Copeland. And I've gotten a chance to meet Sean. He's a neat guy. He's here in Tulsa. He grew up in a small town of Beggs, Oklahoma. He actually was a member of our Rotary Club here back in the day. And he's helped build a bank called Regent Bank. And it's in 13 states now, $1 billion under, assets or deposits. And he was appointed by the governor of Oklahoma to be the Secretary of Commerce. He got Elon Musk to come back to visit when we were kind of in the running with Texas, when Elon Musk was looking to go to Austin, and we were not even on the radar. But Sean said, well, what would it take to get in the running? And he said, well, we need to figure out how we can get jobs for this type of an engineer, pay him this amount. And I said, okay, no problem. We'll produce that result. And boom, Sean had enough people he was connected with, a lot through Rotary and other areas, but they produced, hey, we've got this many people now that want to move to Oklahoma that fit that box. And it's just, so Sean's a great connector, and he's helped a lot of businesses come to Oklahoma. And but it's just a great story. I thought that exudes a lot of what's in your book, and I don't want to steal the thunder. I want everybody to get the book, read the book. And I've also got it on Audible. I've been listening to you read the book to me, which is great. So I listen and I learn a lot. So I'm getting a lot through the Audible that I don't get when I just read it off the page.
Oh, that's great. Nice to know that. Yeah.
So I want to encourage you, anytime you do a book, definitely read, just like Matthew McConaughey read his book, Green Lights. And did you read or heard about that book yet?
I've heard about it. I've not listened to it.
Okay.
Nor have I read it.
Well, did you know he went to Australia on a Rotary Club scholarship?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so there you go. So there's something you have. He's kind of a brother from another mother in that respect, huh?
Well, that's the first time I've ever been compared to him, and I've been compared to way worse than that. So I will take that company.
There you go. No, both of you are reading your books on Audible, so that's another reason to get it on Audible and get the hard copy, so you can have it and take notes in here. But I wonder, who was it that inspired you to write the book?
It's really my life. So there's a lot of autobiography in that book. I'm kind of the main character, a guy who thinks he knows everything about business. And for me, it came through business school. I got my MBA with a focus on marketing, and I thought business success was all about, marketing and advertising and doing that better than the competition. And until I was put to the test and put in charge of those decisions in my family's business, I learned the hard way. So I was really good at spending money on marketing, not so good at pulling in results as a result of a big marketing spend. And what I saw in my own business, and then I've seen just over the years with that of our clients, that the people who are doing well are relationship builders. They're not necessarily advertising at all in some cases, or advertising very little in others, but they're out there, they're building quality connections. Because it really comes around to, people want to do business with people, and they want to do business with people who they know, like, and trust. And you don't communicate that through marketing and advertising. You communicate it in how you live your life, the example that you set for yourself, for your team members, for your company. And that's really where the rubber meets the road. So I learned the hard way. And my hope with the book is that I could keep other people from having to make some of the same mistakes that I did.
Well, that's awesome. And I love the fact that through the stories told, through the parable here, it's just very relational. And I like the fact that on your Audible, I think, and I think this is kind of cool, so I hope you don't mind me reading this, but on the Audible, when I got the book, it said, strong relationships are the key to personal and professional success. That is the lesson that Robert Hansen, owner of a struggling insurance agency, is about to learn. By following the advice of two surprising mentors and the natural connectors he meets through them, Robert uncovers powerful relationship building secrets that have long eluded him, though they were always in plain sight. As you follow the transformative journey of Robert and his business, you will discover 7 simple yet powerful rules for building business one relationship at a time. Whether you are looking to move ahead in your career, build a team, or grow a company, this business parable from author Patrick Galvin will galvanize you into action and provide a clear path to success. The Connector's Way builds on the relationship building themes of classics such as The Go-Giver by Bob Berg, The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino, and How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which I have all those books. And so there's some of my all-time favorites. And although those are great books, and I've taken a lot, and I've recommended those books to a lot of people, I heard this quote that different is better than better. Have you ever heard that one?
I like that quote.
Okay.
I have not heard it that said that way. I love that.
So your book is different, and so different is better than better. So that's one of the things I want to see people get this book, because I think you put a spin on a lot of the different time-tested tactics that can help people go from transactional to relational as they're building these relationships. And I love the fact that in your book you talk about how a lot of that can be done through Rotary Club, and so not everybody has to join Rotary Club, but I'm helping grow our membership here, and I'm excited to see that grow not only locally but globally. And I know you're a big proponent of that.
Absolutely.
Which is exciting. And I think that kind of goes back to the concept of giver's gain. And you talk a little bit about that in the book, but I'm not going to, read the book to them on this video. But when you hear about giver's gain, what does that mean to you, giver's gain?
Well, it's really the cornerstone of, I think, being a great relationship builder. So I've got 7 rules. And people will sometimes say, Patrick, you got 7. What's your favorite child? You got a favorite rule? And sometimes I'll play coy and say, look, I love all my kids. I love all my rules. Yeah. But actually, I really do have a favorite. And it's a different way of saying giver's gain. And it's the 4th rule, which is serve others without consideration for how you're going to benefit. Which is just another way of looking at giver's gain. When you are in that mode of really being of service to people, things are going to happen with you. Robert Cialdini wrote a book called Influence. He talks about the law of reciprocity. When you're out there and you're giving and you're not looking to get something in return, That's when things happen. And will it happen every time? Absolutely not. Sometimes you'll give and you won't get back from that person. That's just human nature. Some people will return, others won't, and that's fine. But it's a way easier way to live your life when you're of that giving mindset, because you don't have to discriminate. You don't have to say, well, I'm going to be good to this person and not so good to that person. Like, that's way too complicated. I don't want to live my life with that sort of mental confusion going on. So if you just are out there giving abundantly, you will gain a better life in all senses, not just financial, but just interpersonal, with your family, with your friends, and with your clients and your colleagues and what have you. It's just a easy way to roll into life. If you're thinking, okay, I'm going to just give and I know it's going to be good. And you stop measuring, what's the quid pro quo, and your life becomes way richer because of it. I
love that. And it becomes a way of life, I would say, is because I had to make that shift. And when I did, it was years ago, and it's just, okay, I'm no longer going to think about what's in it for me. Okay. Hey, let's just help this person to help them and not worry about what the outcome is on the other end. Let's just get them connected with whoever could help them. Like, there's a young lady that came to our club today. She was a Rotarian in the San Francisco area. I think she said, I'm probably going to mess this up. I think it was Mulray or Mulbay town around San Francisco. But anyway,
Monterey, maybe?
It might have been, and she's probably going to be mad at me because I'm not getting it right, but that might have been it. But very sharp young lady, came here to go to Oklahoma State. She's there now, but she's a Rotarian there, looking to move her membership to Bixby. So we're loving on her, trying to show her that we're here to help in any way. She's buying a property here in Bixby. So, well, then you got to be a Bixby Rotarian, because now you're a homeowner or landowner looking to grow here. And turned out she's a award-winning chef, won awards for her gelato, which I said, I would love to try that. I love gelato,
Yeah.
And, but the whole point of it is I said, well, what are some of your goals, and who can we connect you with to help you reach those goals faster? And she said, well, I'm in the, kind of the inspection period. I want to get a survey on this property. I need a surveyor, and a lot of them were backed up. And I said, okay, well, let me do a quick group text to one of our title companies here, one of the realtors that I think would be a great connection for you. And I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm just immediately group texting, right?
Yeah.
And then at our table, it was so fun to kind of learn about her story. And I said, well, one of the reasons we're not the biggest group in our district, we've got 77 Rotary Clubs in the District 6110, but it is documented that our group gives more per, member per capita than the rest of the Rotarians. So I said, I'll brag on that. We're a small group. We're not the big group in downtown Tulsa, which is a big group, and you should visit all the groups. But I just thought, let's just love on her and help her and connect her and just see what happens. I don't know if she'll end up joining our group. I hope she does.
Yeah.
It's all about her, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is kind of that spirit of givers game. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't even keep score. And,
don't keep score. Yeah.
Just kind of give and give and give and give. And and the way you'll know if you're doing it right is people almost feel guilty or obligated. They haven't come back to, at least that's kind of what I picked up in feedback, if I'm doing a good job of giving. What are your thoughts on that?
So it's scientifically confirmed that is an inclination people have. It's kind of how we're hardwired as human beings. We are a social animal, and going back to the early days of humanity. So we live together in small groups. And when someone in your group takes care of you, you want to take care of that person. I mentioned very quickly a title of a book, Influence, by Robert Cialdini.
Yep.
Great book. And he actually talks about the science behind that. The law of reciprocity is not something that he spun out of whole cloth. It's something that is, based in a lot of scientific research over the years, that, when you are a giver, people are hardwired to respond in a giving way. Everybody? No, but certainly a huge number.
Well, now, interestingly enough, years ago, I read that book because it was a realtor and mortgage banker in New Mexico that told me about it. And he was saying that, read the book. Okay, I got the book. And then I think it told the story in the book about the Moonies at the Los Angeles airport. And you probably may be too young, but I don't know if you remember the Moonies there, and they would show up. You were getting off the plane. This is back when you could be right by where you get off the plane.
Yeah.
And no security. And they would come up to you and say, hey, this is a gift. It's your gift. They're trying to give you this flower.
That's right. Yes.
I don't want that gift, because I know as soon as I take that, you're going to asking for a donation, right?
Yes.
So, but they were pretty divisive. It wasn't like this, just give to give without.
No, that was more of a manipulation.
Right.
But the thing is, they were keying into the science of reciprocity, and it was effective from a fundraising standpoint. I mean, ultimately, people start to see through it. So, if it's coming from an authentic place, it's going to be far more successful and sustainable over the long run.
Right.
And I think the Moonies had their run, and then they kind of people said, I've gotten that flower thing before. I know what you're after.
Yeah. So the interesting part about it is even though that they were being divisive, and everybody kind of caught onto their game, it's still the law of reciprocity did work. So what we would encourage, if you're watching this video, is do it to help people, not for some,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The is to give, and then you give enough, it will come back, and it'll probably from somewhere you don't expect it, which is what's so interesting.
More often than not, which just definitely confirms that you need to be of that mindset, because if you start trying to figure, okay, this is going to be really good and this person's probably not so good. When I was in my family's furniture business, we had a guy who came in who looked like a homeless person. Yeah. And unbeknownst to the people on the sales floor, he wanted to spend about $100,000 worth of his money on furniture. And a couple salespeople sort of turned away from him and said, I don't want to talk to that guy. That's a waste of my up in the retail environment where you have an up for, people are assigned when they come into that showroom. That's like, I don't want to deal with that guy. Well, a junior salesperson reap the benefits. You just never know. You never know where your next great connection, your next great relationship is going to come from. So the only solution to that is just build great relationships with everybody. Don't discriminate. Don't try to pick and choose, because you can't.
Well, and I remember one time there was a client here, and I was helping do the mortgage, and the realtor said, I have this little old lady, and she wanted to buy a small little house. It wasn't much money, but she said, it's the right thing to do. Let's help her. Let's give her the same red carpet level service as if she's buying $1 million home. You just never know, right? And the little old lady told her, said, thank you so much for making me feel wonderful in this process. I had several other realtors that kind of brushed me off because it was not a big commission for them.
Right.
Since you took care of me, I have 3 of my family members that want to buy big homes now, and several of them are paying cash. And so it's kind of the same deal. You just never know. I call that God's sense of humor, right? So I thought that was pretty good. And my grandmother used to say, you can fly real high, but you can never fly too low. Let's just stay humble. Let's just do the right thing. And it's back to the old Rotary Club 4-way test. Will it build goodwill and build better friendships? I mean, we asked that question, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Have you gotten a hold of my second book?
No, but I want to talk about that in our next video. I know that goes into the 4-way test.
That is all about the 4-way test. I just bring it up because of that.
No, I'm glad you did, because my whole thing is, I would love to see you write a book for multiple people, because I kind of feel like with what you're onto here, you're bringing so much value. You could almost do kind of like the Chicken Soup for the Soul did with different groups, and just reach more people, because I want to see you get more eyeballs on you, and just continue to fan your flames. Because to me, it's exciting when, like my dad said, you should write a book. You should write a book. I said, well, or I can just promote great people that have great books and work out on their flames.
That is, I thank you so much for those kind words. I really appreciate the enthusiasm. When you write a book, you kind of squirrel away and you just hope it resonates with people. So whenever I hear something like that, it just warms my heart. So thank you.
No, I want to continue to see that. What are some of your thoughts on future books you've thought about writing to help more people?
Well, it's a trilogy. So I've got The Connector's Way as the first book, and The Trusted Way actually has some of the same characters come back into it. Okay. And then there's a third book, and I guarantee you it's going to have the word way in the title.
Ooh, okay. So
I just don't know the words that are surrounding them yet. But it's also going to be, each book deals with relationship building, but just from a different standpoint. So together, it's a whole philosophy of building relationships. And the Trusted Way is digging into something that I assumed that everyone knew, but apparently not the case when the Connector's Way came out in 2016. So it's gotten me out into the world, traveling quite a bit, speaking to lots of different groups. And relationship building, when it's a person like yourself and you're a giver and you believe in givers gain, any tactical stuff that you read on relationship building and then apply, you're going to have great success with, because people know it's coming from an authentic space. you have the trust of people. That's the foundational element. But sadly, a lot of people start doing relationship building as an activity without having a foundation of trust.
Right.
So I realized that I needed to tell a tale of trust and what happens when you don't have it, and then how do you develop it, and how do you thrive with it. So that's why after writing The Connector's Way, I realized that people were saying, this is great, and I'm using these principles, it's helping me. And I felt good about that. And others were saying, I tried some of these principles, they didn't work. And then I started talking to people, kind of figuring out what was going on, and realized that they just thought relationship building was an activity. They weren't really creating that foundational piece of trust.
Okay.
So that's how it came about. And then the next book is kind of a response into, what's great is you write a book, you speak, you go out and talk to people, and then you find out what needs are, and then you write a book to address those needs. So I kind of get a sense of what the next book is going to be based on what I've been hearing from people. So it's fun. It's kind of like a dialogue.
Well, that's awesome. And I will say I love to read, but I learn more from Audible. And so I'm one that listens, and I learn more that way. Plus I can do my walks and listen while I'm driving my university on tape or now
wheels. Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
So when are you going to record your voice on the Trusted Way?
So I have recorded it. It's not on Audible yet. So as an author, there's tremendous benefits to not being on Audible. So
okay. Well,
you can go to patrickgalvin.com and go into books, and you can actually get the audio there. And the reason why I've done it that way, Dane, is I can now go to a company and they could say, hey, we've got 1,000 salespeople, and we'd love it if they listen to your book. Well, if I own the digital rights to it, then I could say, I will give you 1,000 licenses. So it is a lot more compelling to me as an author to control that IP. And the product itself sounds and looks and feels just like Audible. It's just not Audible is very restrictive. It's owned by Amazon. So they're pretty good at locking down things. But with this other platform, I'm able to share. So I don't know if I'm going to put the Trusted Way on Audible, because I've been selling licenses for big numbers of books that honestly, it's easy to sell 1,000 Audible copies, or audiobooks is one Audible book. So,
I love it. So this is the gateway drug on Audible. And then we just go to your website to get the Trusted Way.
You can get the next one. Yeah. And they're about the same listening length. Both books are about 1 hour and 45 minutes. So it's a quick listen. If you live in Los Angeles, that might be your commute to work.
Exactly. I love that. That's so true, right?
Right. Yeah. If you got a long commute, you get a couple of rides in your car and you've heard the whole book.
Yeah. That's great. Well, in the spirit of being a connector to help you and reaching your goals, who could I connect you with to continue to fan the flame?
Well, I just appreciate the opportunity I've had to chat with you. I am going to be somewhat in your neck of the woods. I'm actually going to the Rotary International Convention in Houston, which is June 4th to 8th. And after that convention, I'm going to be speaking for Guild Mortgage in Tumble, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston. And I thought I was going to be speaking for Guild before the conference in Dallas. It turns out that the folks in Dallas are meeting in May, so they don't want to do another meeting in June. So I have a spot on my calendar on June 2nd or 3rd. So I don't know if there's an opportunity in Tulsa to do something.
I think we could figure something out. I'll start putting some feelers out, see what it would take. We'd love to have you come. And I know we're not that far. We'll just work out the logistics. I'd love to have you come here for sure. And we were just talking about coming, to the event. So you're coming to the big event, the World Convention, June 4th through the 8th for Rotary in Houston? In Houston, yes. And have you been to one, Dane? This will be my first one. I'm so excited. Oh, fantastic. You're gonna love it. It's just it's a transformative experience. There's something called the House of Friendship, and you get in there, and they have all the speakers and things going on at the conference, but really, without question, the best thing about the Rotary Convention is an opportunity to just meet people from all over the world. It's like going to the United Nations and talking to people about what they're doing in their countries, making friends with them. When you sign up for it, one of the nights, you have an option of having the local clubs in Houston take you to either like a club meeting, a special get together where they're inviting in the visiting Rotarians. Make sure you sign up for that. That was the highlight of the convention for me in Brazil. Was actually, it didn't even take place at the convention. It was the local Rotarians in Brazil just kind of divided up the people who wanted to do it. And then they came and they met us and they took us out turned out to be this great party with Rotarians. I loved it. So it was just a wonderful experience. And I'm sure from what I've been seeing, the hospitality in Houston is going to be great. And Houston's one of those cities where it's kind of a hard city to figure out because it's so big. And unless you know people,
it's kind of hard to get oriented, but you're going to have 23,000 friends there, well, at least.
It. Well, and I'm glad you put it that way, because it's so interesting. When I was back in California visiting family in Redondo Beach, and I said, hey, I just learned they have a Rotary Club that's going to be meeting. They meet here every Wednesday at the Redondo Beach Yacht Club. And I told my brother-in-law, Alex, and my sister-in-law, Jennifer, hey, you want to go? And they said, no, it's okay. Go ahead and go do your Rotary Club meeting. And it was awesome. Turns out the president, he was kind of doing a swan song, Walter, and he was going through all the slides of all the awesome things and amazing things they'd done for the community of Redondo Beach that year. And it was really neat because the people there, I just felt like, I was at home. And I went to another Rotary Club meeting down in Orlando at the Bay Hill Country Club, and a buddy of mine lives there, and I went to see him and spent some time kind of figuring out how to help him with some of his projects he has in his commercial real estate business. And I said, hey, there's a Rotary Club meeting every Wednesday morning here at 7:30 in Bay Hill at the clubhouse. Have you ever been? You ought to come with me. And he said, no, I don't have time today, but I'll get there eventually. I said, how far is this from your house? And he said, well, I can get my golf cart and drive, 30 doors down, and I'm there. And I said, dude, you're missing out. You need to go, and so I still am working on getting my friend to go that lives right there. But I went in there, and again, I don't think I've ever visited a Rotary Club where I didn't just feel like I'm home, and it's not a put on. It's very down to earth, genuine servant leaders.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's, I guess the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. So when you're with your own people, it's awesome. So,
yeah. I mean, you're just going to have such incredible experiences. I went up to Whistler, British Columbia, which is just north of Portland, with the family, and we were there for a week of skiing. And there was a local Rotary Club that met in the village of Whistler. And I've talked to a lot of people who've been to Whistler, and they said, it's nice, just people from all over the world. I don't think I met a single person that is actually from there. Yeah. Well, I went to that Rotary meeting, and they were inviting me over to their houses for dinner and telling me all about, what it was like to live in Whistler and what life was like in the town. And I had insights into that community that if I had just been doing what every other tourist was doing, I would never have had that. And that experience is available to any Rotarian. There's 46,000 clubs in the world, 1.2 million folks. There's a travel fellowship. When you go to Houston, check out, there's a booth of each fellowship group has a booth. There's a travel fellowship. If you join the travel fellowship, it's I think about $25 a year to join. Basically anyone who come to Bixby, you could say, hey, I'd be happy to take you out for a meal, maybe show you around town. Some people say, hey, if you're a Rotarian, you could stay at my place. And I know Rotarians who belong to that fellowship, and they travel around the world just visiting Rotarians. I mean, everyone's heard of Airbnb, but this is better because Airbnb is just people with places. Yeah. And the travel fellowship are people who care about people. So it's a different deal.
Yeah, it's a whole nother level.
Yeah, a whole nother level.
Well, I'm going to get in on that. And I do mention the fellowships, but I got my degree at Oklahoma State Hotel Restaurant. And before I did that, trying to figure out my major, I wanted to do international business, but the degree wasn't ready in 1989. So they were still trying to figure that out. They have a great program now. But anyway, I heard about I took a bunch of French classes and went and lived on a dairy farm in Belgium and southern Wallonie, French-speaking area with the great family, the Mastock family. We did steel frame construction, building barns and a grain silo, and then we'd milk cows in the morning and evening.
Wow, what an experience.
But it was just amazing. And so it's, I've got a goal to go back. I still keep up with the family. I need to get a French tutor, but I thought, man, take my kids back. And that's the thing I think about Rotary is folks that plug into this, just like you're saying, through a travel fellowship. Like I love cruises. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I have been, yes.
And some people like them and some don't. I love them. I think it's awesome. It's just, it's $1 billion hotel floating, and you just put your comfortable clothes on and go hang out with everybody and do all the events and then get off. Like we took my mom for her birthday, her 70th birthday, flew into Rome, did a 7-day cruise, got balcony rooms all along the Italy, all the little cities in Italy, all the way up to Barcelona. It was amazing. But the point of it all is, I've kind of made it a mission now. Anytime I'm traveling, I look up a Rotary Club so I can go visit them while I'm there, because that's when you feel the heartbeat of the city and the people that are really have a heart to show you the city and prove.
Yeah, it's great you're doing it. I think if more Rotarians did that, Rotary membership would be stickier, because I think that people who experience Rotary just in their own club and they don't realize that they're connected to this larger thing that's just amazing. they're more apt to drop out. But I think once you've had a couple of experiences like the ones that you're describing or the ones that I've had, your chances of leaving are way smaller because you realize that you're part of something special.
Yeah, and I think that's what I love about your book. It's kind of like, okay, this is kind of sharing what we're about, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like get through the back door, getting a peek, right?
Yeah, the best thing that happened with this book, honestly, actually with my second book, The Trusted Way, which is even more heavily about Rotary, is I got a call from a college friend of mine, and he said, "Hey Pat, I want you to know that I'm now a member of Rotary Club of Kansas City." And awesome. His dad had been a member of the club, and I think his grandpa had been a member, and he had just put Rotary in this box of, back in the day, it's not like a real thing right now. And he said, by reading a book and listening to these stories and then reflecting back on what his dad had told him and just kind of what he was looking for, more community engagement and involvement, he said, I checked it out and they're great people and I joined. So if my books can get a couple more Rotarians, I consider them huge successes.
Well, no, and then and combined with that, I think we're gonna have our first lady that's the world president for
Jennifer Jones. Yeah, she's impressive.
Yeah, and I'm excited. And then in our district governor coming up, I met with her at the district. I don't know if her picture will come through, but this is Kathy Webster. She's coming on board, and just an amazing lady. Taught University of Tulsa geology, and just an amazing lady.
Nice. So that's a real commitment to be a governor.
Oh yeah, that's taking it to a whole another level. But I've been saying, hey, we need to get more amazing ladies. I mean, there's this whole worldwide initiative inside of Rotary to lift women up of all ages and all backgrounds. And so I'm trying to fan the flame on that. And the young lady that came to visit today that sought us out, that was Rotarian California, Savannah, I said, hey, you could really help me reach other amazing ladies like yourself that maybe I couldn't attract, because I'm like the older guy now, getting the gray hair in the temples, kind of like kind of that old stodgy. We used to have that old man's, what do you call it? The good old boy club. But I gave a shout out to Kelsey, who's in our group. So she's second generation Rotarian. Her dad in St. Louis, I think she said today when she was 11 years old, she went with her dad to Rotary, and she was the only female in there. And she said, Dad, what's this thing all about? It's just a bunch of old men, Well, now she's kind of helping to break that paradigm, and she's very active in the YMCA here, and just a great leader in our community that moved down here from St. Louis, and she's helping us grow the membership and kind of getting a lot of the younger leaders coming in. So it's very exciting for me to see that growing on a local and global. I had a lady reach out to me on LinkedIn that said she wanted to get into Rotary in Russia. I think Samara, I don't even know where that is, but I said, okay, hold on. So I started Googling it. I found a Rotary in Samara. I sent her the link and she connected with them, and now she's going to see if she can join the club.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great story.
And that's just kind of back to the giver's gain, right? It's not about me. It's just who can we pay it forward with? And all I ask is that, hey, if we help you, maybe you could help somebody else, like the old movie, what was it? Pay It Forward. So, man, well, I've just been so excited. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up? This has been awesome getting to visit with you.
Well, I've enjoyed the chance, Dan. I love your enthusiasm and your commitment to connecting. I wrote the Connectors Way. You're living the Connectors Way. Yeah. So it's awesome talking with you.
And Rolf, who was our district governor, he's originally from Germany. He's here local. He's really one of our most inspirational leaders. He gave me this pin, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's one of the pins they had, one of the old missions, or Rotary Connects the World. Right now, it's Service Changes Lives. But
that's right.
I like Rotary Connects the World, so I still wear this one because, I don't know, it gets me excited because, it's this world keeps getting smaller and smaller if we just continue to love on each other and encourage each other. So thank you for all you've done and continue to do. Do we have any idea when your third book might be coming out?
I think it's going to be a couple of years because there's another book in between. So once you start writing, you start getting too many ideas. So the third book in the trilogy is going to be coming out, and I think about 2 years, but about a year from now, we have another one coming out that I'm excited about. So books are fun. They start conversations, and you just never know where the conversations are going to go. I got a connection that said, boy, you know where they really need your book? And I never know what they're going to say. It's like, they need this in China. Ooh. And now the Connector's Way has been bought and it's published in China. It's in Chinese. And wow. It's just exciting to think that, the things that we're talking about in this conversation that I talk about in the Connector's Way, these are universal needs. They're not specific to America. You know, at the end of the day, whether you're Chinese, American, Russian, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to be successful to the extent that you build great relationships with people. And it's not people of a certain nationality, it's with people in general. So maybe that's the best way to wind things up.
I love that. Well, just keep on keeping on. You're just making a great impact for so many people. I'm just thankful to call you my friend, Patrick. So for those of you that had stuck around this long for the video that I'm getting ready to put out there, get the book, The Connector's Way by Patrick, and also get his book, The Trusted Way, where we'll talk about that more in another video when you have some time. And looking forward to seeing you down there in Houston at the big convention.
Likewise, looking forward to it.
All right.